Isaiah says with the spirited, broken people, I am about to do a new thing. A new thing. When I am hit square in the face by a warm wave of nostalgia, I do what I suspect some of you may do. Of course, I have an iPad and I have pictures there, and I have precious pictures on my phone. But what I often do is I'll go and find the old picture albums. And oftentimes they're not in albums, they're just kind of thrown all over the place. So in the 5 or 6 different places that Karen and I have called home in the last 30 years, 2 apartments and 3 homes, 3 houses. I remember the first house that we had in St. Clair Shores on 22636 Manor. Don't send my mail there. It'll get sent back. But I remember it was downstairs. It was downstairs into the basement, around the corner to that dark place beneath the stairs. The land that time forgot. And obviously, and I would often notice that we had forgot to dust too. And I would work my way through books and folders and so on and so forth, and there I would find them. More often than not, I think you'll find that a walk down memory lane brings a wide grin and hopefully a warm feeling, ultimately, of gratitude in your own heart. And inevitably, we see pictures of people and we think to ourselves, I wonder whatever became of so-and-so. I wonder whatever happened to her. I remember that day. I remember that time. But along with the feelings and the memories is also the awareness of how much life has actually changed. Friendships that nurtured and supported us have faded away. The truth is, and this isn't trying to be cool, but the truth is, the undeniable fact is, the vast majority of our friendships, the vast majority of them, are not for a lifetime. No, they're not. They're for a time. And who knows why they fade away, but you know as well as I do, the vast majority of them at some point or another just kind of fade away. People move away. In the busyness of life, we lose touch. Some of them have died. In fact, in our day and age, when we have one of those thoughts and we look at an album, we see a picture, we wonder whatever happened to so-and-so. All you have to do is go online and Google them, or Bing them, Yahoo them, whatever it is. And I had the misfortune 3 or 4 times of looking for people that I went to high school with, people who lived in my neighborhood. And you find an obituary. Anybody here can relate? Mm-hmm. You find an obituary. And oftentimes with some of my friends, guys I play football with, what does it say? It says, suddenly. In one instance, I did, however, and I didn't write this down, but I'll share this nevertheless. It wasn't a dear old friend that I was thinking about. I shared this with somebody the other day, and they were absolutely astounded. Maybe about 15 years ago, there was a gentleman who came to St. Mark, and gentleman, I use the term loosely. How do I really feel? Nevertheless, let's just put it this way. He made my life really difficult. Really difficult. He wanted to get married here, and long story short, he's one of these guys who have a lot of free time and get caught up in conspiracy theories. He was the only person in my tenure at St. Mark that I threw out of my office. No. Wendy, just wait. He was the guy who said to me, you know those people in Oklahoma? The people when the building blew up? He said, I think they got what they deserved. Now you know. Don't jump to conclusions. I threw him out. I said, you know what? I think it's time for you to leave. Anyway, long story short, there's more involved in the story. One day, I said, I wonder whatever happened to old Pasquale. And Pasquale won a full ride scholarship to the state penitentiary. That's the truth. That's the truth. So we wonder what happened to people. And sometimes there is a yearning when we remember people that we knew and that we loved and who were so important to us and who continue in ways to be important to us. There is that desire to cross and to bridge that chasm that separates us, the present from the past, to bask in those moments and to touch those people. And unfortunately, H.G. Wells' time machine is still fiction. Though if it did exist, I'd say you go first. When all is said and done, the only window to that distant place is in your head and in your heart. We sing time like an ever-rolling stream, the hymn writer says. And sometimes it seems to me that time is more like a raging river. A river that has its way with us and the people that we love. And that being the case, I can understand the cry of a singer who says, time stand still. I've felt that way before. Time stand still. Freeze this moment a little bit longer. A great preacher says, faith is always a struggle with time zones. Faith is always a struggle with time zones. If you will, all of us this morning live on an island called the present, whose shores are lapped by the waters of the past. And on the other side of that island is the great unknown sea of the future. Not surprisingly, the good book bears eloquent wisdom to that incredible struggle. Listen to the Israelites rail against Moses and God as the hoofbeats of the Egyptian army shake the sand as they look out on the expanse of the Red Sea. Take us back to Egypt, back to slavery, back to the past. The future is uncertain and it's scary, and this moment is unbearable. Of course, we moaned and complained for 400 years. And slavery was terrible, but we'd like to go back there. Listen to Peter. Lord, shall I go 3 booths? Let's stay on this mountain. Let's hang out in the light and the glory. Why do we need to go to the level ground? You see, you can get locked in and nailed down, and this is for all of us. You can be paralyzed by fear, and sometimes you can even be shackled by joy. And in so doing, you forfeit the future. This morning we listen as Isaiah tells a broken people of the kind of brokenness that not one person in this room could even begin to understand, and I include myself. People who have been carried away from their homes into exile by an opponent who is far larger and far stronger, and there are people, and you can hear them shrugging their shoulders, what's the use? And Isaiah says, remember what God did in the Exodus. God will act, the same God, but in a different way, in a new way, to create a future for you. If God made a way through the water, God will make a way through the barrenness of the wilderness. God will make a way for you to go home. We can see, I think, this morning our own reflection in this example of the Israelites. I think either terrified of the future or despairing of a meaningful future, we seek to go back and to recreate and to live in a past that can never be. Can never, ever be again. And we throw up our hands and we languish in the presence. We've been reading a book, Who Broke My Church? Who Broke My Church? In fact, yesterday I was on Mack Avenue getting some coffee at a Starbucks, where else? And I look across the street, and what did I see? Again, a church with a for sale sign in front of it. Just off the top of my head, I can name 6. 6. I'm sure you could add to the list, unfortunately. And so there is a desire to go back to St. Mark in the 1950s and the early 60s, when this place was packed to the rafters, and every single Sunday looked like Easter Sunday. But those days do not exist. We can't go back to those days. But to live and to say, I won't go forward, is in essence to sin against the future. Both are saying, in essence, that God is too small and too weak and too apathetic to do anything for us. But Isaiah says, you should always remember this in wherever you go in your life. With God, there is no such thing with God as a dead end. Struck by a wave of nostalgia, I go back to the old photo albums, those shoe boxes stuffed tight with memories. We look, we smile, we reflect, we give thanks. We marvel at how life has changed. We think and we look at those pictures, we say, look at me, look at you. Where did we get those clothes? Take a good look at yourself the next time you look at an old photo. Take a good look. That picture was 5 years ago. It was 10 years ago. It was 20 years ago. And when that picture was taken, you didn't have a clue. You had no clue. The grief that would come to meet you, the tears that you would shed, the laughter that you would know, the new people who would come into your life and change your life, the challenges that you would face, the way that God, in spite of the circumstances, would make a way through. I utter no Pollyannish sentiments when I say that the events of the Bible meld with the experiences of our own lives to point beyond to a God whose love and whose faithfulness somehow, always manages to make a way. Whether it's through the sea or the wilderness, through any set of circumstances. And I'm convinced that what God is trying to do today is to teach us to say two things. God is teaching us to say hello, to embrace the gifts and the surprises, and more often than not, those surprises are people that come our way, and also how to say goodbye. Sometimes we have to say goodbye to old ways. But eventually, most importantly, we say goodbye to special people. The last month and a half, we have said goodbye to 3 very, very special people who called St. Mark their home for probably 30 or 40, and then some years of their life. But we say goodbye with the assurance, God's guarantee of better things to come. Because in Christ, his death and his resurrection, God has opened up to make a way, to create a place, to establish a future that is so far beyond that dead-end sign. A couple of weeks ago, I sat with Roger Fishoni, who will be here on Good Friday afternoon. Roger Fishoni buried his youngest son. Can't even imagine. Roger has to be one of the sharpest and most faithful people that I know. A man of profound faith. And I just mentioned to him as we were eating, I said, how long has it been since Joseph died? And he winced. He winced in pain. And I could see a tear in his eye. It's been 11 years. You know, right? You know there are some things you never get over. You know that, right? Mm-hmm. So I said to him, the funny thing is, Roger, I said, when I was a little kid, I would ask my father, I would say, Dad, in heaven, is there ice cream? Is there baseball? And my father would always say, he would say, whatever you love here, God will bring there. And I said to him, Roger, the funny thing is, the older I get, the more sophisticated in the sense I become theologically and philosophically, the more I realize that my father was absolutely right. All that was precious in your past, all that is good in the present, will be brought into a future that even now God is preparing. And that future will be given to you as your own life was given to you, as a gift.